Ukraine has an inherent right to choose its own destiny. That's the statement from European leaders released just a few hours ago, just 3 days before the US President Donald Trump is due to meet his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. The statement welcoming the peace efforts of Trump, but stressing that a just and lasting peace must respect international law, including the principles of independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and that international borders must not be changed by force. It's still unclear if, as European leaders want, Vladimir Zelensky will be at the meeting himself. Zelensky, though, already not optimistic about the outcome.
There is no sign that the Russians are preparing for a post-war situation. On the contrary, they are moving their troops and forces to launch new offensive operations.
Philip Turle, International Affairs Editor, is with me now here on set. Philip, Donald Trump keeps talking about a land swap or potential land swap. What does he mean by that?
It's unclear exactly what Donald Trump means by that, Stuart, because as those who've been following the war in Ukraine will know, it is Russia that has invaded Ukraine in defiance of all international laws, and which is demanding that it keeps hold of 4 Ukrainian territories and also of Crimea, which it seized in 2014. It's unclear what land swap would mean because, as far as anybody knows, Ukraine has not laid claims to any land within Russia itself. The only thing that Ukraine has done since the start of the war is to launch a ground offensive in part of the Russian territory called Kursk, but this was only to try to sway the Russian army away from the borders within Ukraine and give Ukraine more energy to fight back and get back control of its territory that is in Russian hands. So it's unclear what that swap means. I think what Donald Trump is alluding to is that, well, if we get these talks underway in Alaska and Vladimir Putin is open to an agreement, what we could do is freeze the fighting now on the borders that Russia has already conquered, then sign an agreement and hand that land over to the Russians, including Crimea. That would be the end of the war, and everybody could go home, and that would be a suitable solution to the Ukrainian conflict. Of course, that is not going to go down well with the Ukrainians themselves. Vladimir Zelensky has already said he is not willing or open to handing over any territory. That is also the tune coming out from European capitals. Has to be said, these talks are taking place in Alaska. They are uniquely between Vladimir Putin on one side and Donald Trump on the other. Volodymyr Zelensky has not been invited, and for the moment, no European representatives or leaders have also been invited to these discussions.
Philip will continue to follow that story here on France 24, of course, over the coming days.